This is lesson 2-4 on solving equations when there is a variable on both sides of the equal sign. So just to kind of run through this quickly, you have your study guide that you're going to complete, and there are questions, an explanation on here, and lots of examples. So up here, they give you 5y minus 8 equals 3y plus 12. So obviously there's a y on both sides of our equal sign. Basically, the only difference between this and solving a multi-step equation is step 1, where we have to get rid of one of the y's, right? Our goal is to get y by itself on one side of the equal sign. So we're going to get rid of a y. How do we know which one to get rid of? It doesn't honestly really matter, but I always start off by getting rid of the smallest variable. And that way you're not dealing with negative signs later on. So always eliminate the smallest one first. So out of 5y and 3y is smaller. So to make it 0, 3y, I have to subtract 3y. So in this line here, they subtracted 3y. So then these 3y's will cancel each other out. And if you're going to subtract 3y on the right side of your equal sign, you have to do the same thing on the left. So then once we go down one line, 5y minus 3y is 2y. Still have that minus 8 equals, these 3y's canceled each other out, 3y minus 3y, and we're left with 12. Now you just have a multi-step equation that you solve like normal. So that's the only difference. And then I wanted to run through a few examples. Looks like I have 4 here. The first one, I'll zoom in a little bit, has fractions with it, right? So let me get a sheet of paper to write on the back. For fractions, all you have to remember is that when you're adding and subtracting, you have to get the same denominator, right? And right now they don't have the same denominator. One is an 8, one is a 2, but I can make this 2 an 8 by multiplying the bottom by 4. And to keep this fraction equal to 1/2, I can't just turn this into an 8 because then it would be 1/8, right? I have to, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do the same thing to the top. So if I multiply the bottom by 4, I have to multiply the top by 4. So 1/2 is going to become 4 over 8. B plus 4 equals 1 over 8b plus 88. Okay, so here's where we're at. Now I have to get rid of the smallest variable. Okay, what's smaller, 1/8 or 4/8? Right? If there's a pizza and it's cut into 8 slices, who ate less? The person that ate 1 slice or the person that ate 4? Obviously this one. So I'm going to subtract 1/8 b from both sides of my equal sign, and this guy over here cancels out. So I'm left with 88. Bring down my equal sign. 4 over 8 minus 1 over 8 is just 3 over 8, b plus 4. Now I've got a regular old multi-step equation, but since there's a fraction, we'll keep solving. There's stuff on the other side of this paper, sorry. To get b alone, I need to get rid of this 4, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides of my equal sign. 3 over 8b equals 84. And then once I'm down to just this, where I have my variable with a fraction in front of it, this is being multiplied together, 3 over 8 times b. So to get rid of this times 3 over 8, we would divide by 3 over 8, right? But when you divide fractions, remember, keep it, change it, flip it. When you divide fractions, if I had, here, I'll do it to the side. If I had 3 over 8 divided by 3 over 8, keep it, change it, flip it. It's the same thing as saying 3 over 8 times 8 over 3. Keep the first fraction the same, change your sign to multiplication, flip the second fraction upside down. Keep it, change it, flip it. So we're just going to multiply by the reciprocal. And then once we do that, we get, every single time we multiply by the reciprocal, we end up getting just 1 over 1, or just 1, right? Just cancels out to 1. And since we're multiplying, if it cancels out to 1, we're just left with b, right? So we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. And so I have to do the same thing over here. These cancel. So I'm left with b equals, and then I'm going to multiply these. 84 times 8, I'm going to use my calculator. 672 over 1 times 3 is 3 on the bottom. And I'm willing to bet I can divide 672 by 3. 224. 224. So b equals 224. So even though that's a big number, it's okay. B equals 224. On your paper that you submit, please do not just show me this. If you want to write your answers down on your paper, great, but then you also need to submit all the work that you did on the bottom, all this stuff. This is what you get points for, all of this. If I'm a teacher and I could drag that out and have that many steps, you as a student can't tell me that you did all of this in your head, right? Like you need to show me your work to get credit. Okay, so that was just a fraction example. Now we have a decimal example here. I wanted to go over this because there are two exceptions to this lesson whenever we're solving for a variable, and this is one of them. So let's solve and see what we get. So here we have 3y and 3y, right? And we always have to get rid of the smallest one, but here they're equal. So it doesn't matter which one I get rid of, just pick one. So I'm going to get rid of this 3y, and whatever I do on one side, I got to do to the other. So this one cancels, and this one cancels too. Wait. So I'm left with negative 1.8 equals negative 1.8. Well, how the heck do I solve for y? Well, this is a special case. Whenever the variable cancels out and it goes away, it gets completely eliminated and there's no variable. If whatever is left over is equal, then your answer is everything. Infinite solutions, right? You can write infinite solutions. Or you can write the little infinity symbol, which means we can put anything we want here for y, and it's going to get canceled out anyways, and what's left over is always going to be equal. So we could put a negative number in for y, we could put 0, we could put a fraction, we could put anything. It's going to get canceled out anyways, and what's left over is always going to be equal. So infinite solution, we can put anything we want in for y. Okay, now let's look at one when y gets canceled out, but what's left over is not equal. All right, here, when y gets, the variable, not y, the variable gets canceled out and what's left is not equal, then what do we say, right? So here I've got negative 4k, got to get rid of one of them, just pick one because they're the same. And whatever you do on one side of the equal sign, you got to do to the other. So these get canceled and then these get canceled. And we're left with 18 equals negative 10. Are they ever equal? If you have $18 and somebody else owes $10, do you guys have the same amount of money? No, it's not. It's never going to be equal. So here, no matter what we put in for k, doesn't matter what a fraction, negative number, positive number, does not matter. It gets canceled out anyways, and what's left over will never be true. So there is nothing I can put in for k here that would ever make this a true statement. So this is no solution. So you're either going to have one of three answers when you're solving any of these problems. You're going to have whatever, x equals a number, right? You'll get one number answer. There's one. You'll get infinite solutions or you'll get no solution. So when you're solving for the variable, if the variable gets canceled out completely and what's left over is equal, then it's infinite solutions. If what's left over is not equal, then it's, no solution. I did have one more fraction problem here I wanted to try with you guys. Just for extra practice because I know how we feel about fractions. All right, so same thing here. We have to have the same denominator, and they do not right now. And I can't multiply 2 by anything to make it a 3, and I can't multiply 3 by anything to make it a 2. But what could I turn both of these into, right? 6, right? So I multiply 3 by 2 to make it a 6. So I have to multiply the top by 2. So this is going to be 4 over 6n plus 8 equals, and then to make this guy a 6 on the bottom, I have to multiply by 3. So I have to multiply the top by 3. And I didn't have to multiply everything because I didn't change the value of this fraction. 2/3 is 4/6. They're the same thing. It just has a 6 on the bottom, but it's the same amount. 1/2 is the same thing as 3 over 6. It just has a 6 on the bottom. Didn't change the value. But now I can subtract. So to get rid of my smallest variable, I'm going to get rid of 3 over 6. So minus 3 over 6n, minus 3 over 6n. These are going to go away. When I subtract on the left, I'm going to get 1 over 6n, bring down that plus 8, and I still have a 2 over here. So now I can get rid of this 8, 1 over 6n, I know you can't see, equals -6. And then to get rid of a fraction, like we just said, you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. These cancel, so I'm left with n equals -6 times 6 over 1 is just -6 times 6, -36. So for our answer, n equals -36. But do not just give me this. Give me all the work with it. That's what I want to see. All right?